Hey guys, welcome to Digital Versus. Vernee Mars Pro versus the Maze Alpha. How do these two phones compare in a benchmark showdown? Well, let's find out. On the left we have the Vernee Mars Pro, and on the right we have the Maze Alpha. So both phones are actually rocking the Helio P25. It is being reported here incorrectly as the Helio P20. I believe the reason for that is because the software doesn't know the difference between a P20 and a P25. They're actually identical chips, you see. They're built on the same architecture, they have the same design and the same feature sets, so it'd be very difficult for an application to be able to distinguish the difference between a P20 and a P25. The only difference between them is that the maximum clock speed on a P25 gets a little bit higher than that of the P20. Now, phones don't often reach their maximum clock speeds due to the heat and the energy that it requires. So both chipsets will operate at lower frequencies, so really in actual real world use there's not going to be much difference between a P20 and a P25. So anyway, let's just continue on with the specifications here. We have the Mali T880 graphics, both phones also rocking full HD displays. The Mars Pro though has a 5.5 inch display, the Maze Alpha does not have a 4.59 inch display. Ignore that, that is incorrect. It actually has a 6 inch display. The Mars Pro though does have 6 gigs of RAM, while the Maze Alpha has 4 gigs of RAM. Both phones also have 64 gigabytes of onboard storage, and both phones are also running Android 7.0. So we've run a whole bunch of benchmarks, so we can just get straight into the results. So in the Geekbench CPU benchmark, we can see that both phones pretty much identical. The difference here is insignificant. Both of them scoring around 860 in the single core score and around 4100 in the multi-core score. And in the Geekbench 4 graphics test, again very similar scores, both around the 2900 points in this test. Now looking at Antutu benchmark, again very similar scores, around the 66,000 points, slight win here to the Maze Alpha, but again the difference here insignificant, overall very similar. Okay, now looking at Basemark OS2, we can have a look at the results here. So again, very similar scores, 1,338 versus 1,336 for the overall score. So again, pretty much the same all the way along here. Okay, in the Basemark X game benchmark, we have the Maze Alpha on the top and the Mars Pro on the bottom. And again, pretty much the same score, 19,600 on both phones. I think you're getting the idea that these two phones perform pretty much identically. Okay, and this is the 3D Mark benchmark, and again, pretty much identical scores, 686 versus 685. I don't think you can get any closer than that. Let's get into PCMark. So now we are looking at PCMark, and we finally see a little bit of a difference here, but again, very minor, 3,945 versus 3,761. So this is the final test. This is Android Bench. Now both phones have 64 gigs of onboard storage, and this is testing that storage to see how fast it is in read and write speed. So starting off with the Mars Pro on the left, sequential read speeds 249 megabytes per second versus 247. Sequential write speeds 126 versus 168. Random read speeds 38 megabytes per second versus 53, and then random write speeds 11 versus 16. So of all the tests, this is the only one where there is a significant difference. So the Maze Alpha having much faster onboard internal storage. So guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're trying to decide between one of these two phones, performance is not going to be the deciding factor. Anyway, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.